All right, so this video is about doing dead hangs and why I think it's a really good thing for a lot of people to do, and something that you should probably start doing too. So we get a lot of people who come in to see us and they have some sort of shoulder pain, maybe a rotator cuff tendonitis, and as part of treating that, we want to work on their stability and strength of their back. In order to do some good back strengthening exercises, you have to be able to push and pull and reach overhead. And what we often find is people are really locked down in their shoulder blade movement, meaning their pecs, their lats, a couple different of the muscles in the back are so tight that when we ask them to move, they just have a hard time even sliding their shoulder blade around their back, reaching overhead. And a lot of this is just because if you think about it, we don't move or push our arm all the way overhead very much at all, right? And kind of what I'll tell my patients is, let's say you had a shelf that was really high. You wouldn't reach all the way up to that shelf to get something. You would either lower the shelf or stand on a step like I am now, right? So what happens is slowly over time, we all have to work on computers, work at desks, drive our cars, hug our loved ones. We do a lot of stuff anterior like this and we just get locked down. We don't reach all the way overhead like this hardly at all. And then when we need to, for either doing some exercise a lot of times, for physical therapy or just even for swimming, that's another big one, then you don't have the mobility to help yourself. So dead hangs, which is just hanging from a bar, right? Getting a pull-up bar. And having a pull-up bar at home is just a great thing to have. There's several different things you can do with it. But dead hang would just be doing this, right? Hanging from the bar and just seeing how long you can do it. See if you can get up to about a minute or so, okay? And the first thing that it does, as you would see, is work on grip strength. There's actually a lot of studies that show there is a correlation between grip strength and just longevity or long life, meaning, and the correlation is probably if you have good grip strength and you're being fairly active, the more active you are, the longer you'll live. So just getting grip strength is a great thing, first off, that doing a dead hang will give you. The second thing is just the ability to stretch all the way overhead, right? And allowing the lats, allowing the actual shoulder joint to swing all the way up so that you get that full extension. Okay, and if you're locked down like most people, sometimes people, when they get into this, will actually kind of lean back a little bit. But just being able to get into this full extension like that and hang and relax and breathe, it feels really good actually, okay? And another thing that we'll have people do once they get into a dead hang position is then to work on sliding the scapula up and down in the hang position. Let me see if I can demonstrate it for you. Is to get in this dead hang position and then squeeze your shoulder blades up and down. So we're just stretching the muscles around the shoulder blade to get some more movement overall. Instead of the shoulder blades being locked down, that squeeze up and down is a great exercise to get some mobility. And then it also helps you at the bottom of doing a chin up or a pull up in that shoulder retraction, bringing the shoulder blades down, depression, shoulder depression, and really working your back, which is what you should be doing with those exercises anyway. Another exercise we'll sometimes have people do is when they're in the hang here, is work on pushing their head forward and squeezing their shoulder blades together. And again, working on sliding those shoulder blade around the rib cage. So doing a dead hang is a really good exercise that you can do pretty simply. You just need a chin-up bar, and then you hang from it, right? Not too hard to figure out. And then do a couple little bit of shoulder mobility exercises, and this can go a long way for you in preventing shoulder issues later on. I mean, and this is a thing that we see all the time, right? Where it's just like people will not work on overhead mobility, right? You just don't think about it. Like I said, you don't reach overhead very often. They go into a gym and they decide like, hey, I want to do these type of exercises. And then they try to force the range of motion, but they really don't have it. And that's when they're a lot of times the rotator cuff will come up into the acromion there if they don't have enough mobility. The acromion is the top of the shoulder blade, and it will press in there and cause some damage, and then they're in here to see us. Another one, like I said, is swimming. It's interesting, you in order to swim with a proper stroke, you really have to reach out overhead. And people who, it's like, hey, yeah, 15, 20 years ago, I used to do a lot of swimming. I gave it up for a while. I wanted to get back into it. Man, I just did one round in the pool, and now my shoulders are hurting. And it's just because they've lost that overhead mobility. So if you're at a gym or if you have a chin-up bar at home, just go ahead, do some dead hangs. Try to do it every day. It's just a little bit of a stretch. You walk by, see if you can hang for a minute, do it a couple times a day, and it will help you a lot. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comments, and get hanging from a bar.